Yeah, man. You know, and that's some of the realest. You know, iRobot versus God's body. But for the closing points, for all my closing points, just to tie up loose ends on the backwardness too. In the backwardness too. You know, just as I'm saying, man, in our movies, just in our movies. You know, they really showed you the Bin Laden complex that I was speaking on. You know, when I was talking about how we've been lied to in war, they showed you the Bin Laden complex in the last Iron Man. You know what I'm saying? Showed you the Bin Laden complex in the last Iron Man, where they had the one cat that was supposedly the terrorist or whatever. You know, when they finally met the motherfucker, he was just an old English talking drunk motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? They showed you the Bin Laden complex in the last Iron Man. You know, right in your face. You know what I'm saying? And as I'm saying, that all through these movies, that this mentality has been honed all through these movies and these TV shows. You know, for far too long, black people have been, people, period, have been, watching these sitcoms where the white man figure out the goddamn problem in 30 minutes or less. You know, watching all these MacGyvers and Top Guns and Mission Impossibles and all this bullshit. Where the white man, the Great Gatsbys and shit. You know, all these fucking white Christ complex shits. These white savior complex shits. You know, where the white man saving the day in 30 minutes and shit. You know, and there is no law written in the universe that white people or the or Europeans will always be on top or no shit like that. Mm. For far too long, that we a superhero complex. You know, all the superheroes you watch are white guys. So you always expecting that white people are gonna say that they are gonna end up doing something right or some shit. No, it's time for us to get up off our own ass, sweep in front of our own fucking doors. You know what I'm saying? We got to sweep up in front of our own door. So it's very important. That's why these closing arguments, it's very important for me to establish the fact that that's why I'm on everybody's ass. You know what I'm saying? Everybody bullshitting, from black to white people. You know, everybody bullshitting. And and just in those same way, like I say, in these movies, how white supremacy has been cemented through these movies and through your superheroes and through your sitcoms and MacGyvers and bullshit like that. And then Will Smith in the movie, he enemy of the state and shit. You have, and that's a black man, enemy of the state. Funny. And you have movies like Candyman. Black people aren't. I ain't gonna say we're not in the horror movies, but black people are not in horror movies. Black people are not the horror movie star. You have cats like Freddy Krueger, who was a pedophile, Jason, terrible parents, fucking, you know, American Psycho, fucking The Shining. You got all these movies, white people going crazy in this bitch. You know what I'm saying? And then you have Candyman, and this motherfucker here, black guy, who gets killed for having jungle fever, for loving his white woman. His vengeance is set on getting this white woman. He's killing for this white woman. It's just really mental slavery, and it's so crazy. It's so crazy, It's mental slavery, and it's so crazy, you know. And it's, like I say, it's just as simple as the whole mentally ill complex. The mentally ill complex is a great way to understand. In case I didn't get my point across with the mentally ill complex, in case I didn't mention it, just to revisit. White people are the only one on the planet that get the mentally ill pass. I was just looking at some shit, on my Facebook where, white dude stabs his mother up and, they give him insanity type shit. That's crazy. I've never heard nobody getting insanity. But just the simple fact, if you have this many white people through history, this many white men, grown white men through history who've never had any records or no shit like that, and they've done all this violent shit when they got older or whatever, if you have this many that have killed up this many people or whatever, mass murderings, domestic terrorism, basically, if you have this many working age white men lashing out doing this shit, then what in the world what in the world really makes this many white people, or makes them, qualified to be judges and lawyers and prosecutors and all this shit, and people who are supposedly those that who can implement justice, who are supposed to be able to implement justice. You know, this is a main reason for our backwardness. How, based on their history, just based on European history, how in the world, how in the world, how in the world do white people in America sit as judges and lawyers and prosecutors and people who justify and people who judge shit? People who are supposed to, as I say, implement justice. Given their history, how? This is the last person on the planet who really should be able to sit, and discuss, what justice should be. These are the grand backwardnesses, and these are some of the greatest ways to know why we are where we are. Because truly, just based on the white man's history, the white man has been the greatest threat to Mother Earth and himself and his own self.